In 1998, a researcher named Daniel Goleman published a finding that changed how we think about success. After studying hundreds of high-performing leaders across industries, he found that the single greatest predictor of long-term professional and personal success was not IQ, not technical skill, not even work ethic. It was social intelligence, the ability to navigate human relationships with precision. But here's the part most people miss. Social intelligence is not about what you do. It is about what you never do. The most socially powerful people in any room are not performing. They are not trying to be liked. They have simply eliminated a set of behaviors that everyone else is still committing without realizing the damage. These are the 7 things socially intelligent people never do. And if you are doing even one of them, it is costing you more than you think. You meet someone new. The conversation is flowing. There is a warmth, a sense of connection. And in that moment, something happens. You feel safe enough to reveal something personal, something you would not normally say. A struggle, a fear, a private detail about your life. It feels like intimacy. It is not. It is a trap your own brain sets for you. A 2017 study published in the journal Human Communication Research found that premature self-disclosure, sharing personal information before a relationship has earned that level of trust, consistently reduces likability and perceived competence. The researchers found that listeners interpret oversharing not as openness but as poor judgment. Socially intelligent people understand this instinctively. They know that vulnerability is powerful, but only when it is earned. Sharing too much too soon does not build connection. It creates discomfort. The other person now holds information they did not ask for and are not prepared to carry. The practical rule is this: match the depth of what you share to the depth of the relationship. If you have known someone for 20 minutes, they do not need to know about your childhood trauma. Let trust build first. Vulnerability follows intimacy. It does not create it. Someone tells you about their vacation. You immediately mention your better one. A colleague shares a challenge they faced. You jump in with a harder one you overcame. Someone is excited about a small win. You casually reference your bigger one. This is called conversational narcissism, a term coined by sociologist Charles Derber in his research on attention dynamics in conversation. Derber found that in most conversations, people consistently redirect the focus back to themselves, not out of malice, but out of an unconscious need to feel relevant. A 2015 study in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology confirmed that one-upping consistently backfires. Participants who engaged in competitive self-presentation were rated as less likable, less trustworthy, and less competent than those who simply acknowledged the other person's experience. Socially intelligent people have trained themselves to resist this impulse. When someone shares something, they do not pivot to their own version. They stay with the other person. They ask a follow-up question. They let someone else have the spotlight without needing to claim a piece of it. The shift is simple but difficult. When someone tells you something, your only job is to make them feel heard, not to prove that you have done it better. Someone tells you about a problem they are facing. Before they have even finished speaking, you are already constructing the solution in your head, and then you offer it, confidently, helpfully, with the best of intentions, and you have just made them feel worse. Research conducted by the University of Iowa in 2008 found that unsolicited advice is one of the most common sources of interpersonal friction. The study showed that when advice is given without being requested, recipients experience it not as help, but as an implicit judgment, a signal that the advisor views them as incapable of solving their own problems. Socially intelligent people know that most of the time, people do not want your solution. They want to feel understood. They want to process out loud. They want someone to sit with them in the difficulty without rushing to fix it. The practical adjustment is to ask one question before offering anything. Do you want me to help you think through this, or do you just need to talk about it? That single question changes the entire dynamic. It gives the other person agency, and it prevents you from becoming the person everyone avoids when they are struggling. There is a difference between contributing to a conversation and hijacking it. Socially intelligent people know exactly where that line is. Research by Harvard neuroscientists Diana Tamir and Jason Mitchell, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2012, found that talking about oneself activates the same reward centers in the brain as food and money. Self-disclosure is literally addictive. Your brain rewards you for making everything about you. This means that the default mode for most people in conversation is to redirect every topic back to their own experience, their own opinions, their own stories. Not because they are selfish, because their brain is feeding them dopamine for doing it. Socially intelligent people have overridden this default. They have learned to notice when they are turning someone else's story into their own. They redirect intentionally. They ask questions. They let the other person be the center of the exchange. Here is the paradox that makes this powerful. The less you talk about yourself, the more interesting people find you. A 2016 study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who asked more questions during conversations were consistently rated as more likable, even when they shared almost nothing about themselves. People do not remember what you said about yourself. They remember how you made them feel about themselves. Something goes wrong, someone says something offensive, a plan falls apart, an insult lands, and in that moment you feel the heat rise. The impulse to snap, to defend, to fire back. Socially intelligent people feel that same heat. The difference is what they do with it. A 2019 study from Yale's Center for Emotional Intelligence found that individuals with high emotional regulation skills, the ability to manage their own reactions in real time, are perceived as significantly more competent, more trustworthy, and more leader-like than those who react impulsively, even when the impulsive reaction is justified. This is not about suppressing emotions. It is about choosing when and how to express them. There is a difference between feeling angry and acting angry. Socially intelligent people have trained themselves to create a gap between the stimulus and the response. In that gap, they make a choice. And that choice is almost never to react in the moment. The practical tool is what psychologists call the 10-second rule. When you feel a strong emotional reaction in a social setting, you do nothing for 10 seconds. You breathe, you observe, you let the initial spike pass. In most cases, the response you would have given in the first second is not the response you want to be remembered for. It feels harmless. Sometimes it even feels like bonding. Two people sharing a negative opinion about a third. There is an intimacy to it, a sense of being on the same team. But socially intelligent people know something about gossip that most people learn too late. The person you are gossiping with assumes you gossip about them too. This is supported by a phenomenon psychologists call spontaneous trait transference, first documented by researchers Skowronski, Carlston, May, and Crawford in 1998. Their studies found that when you describe someone else negatively, the listener unconsciously associates those negative traits with you. If you call someone untrustworthy behind their back, the person you are telling subconsciously begins to see you as untrustworthy. Gossip does not build trust, it destroys it, slowly, invisibly, and in both directions. Socially intelligent people understand that how you talk about people who are not in the room tells everyone in the room exactly who you are. The practical rule is clean. If you would not say it to their face, do not say it behind their back. And when someone invites you to gossip, redirect. Change the subject, refuse to participate. The people worth having in your life will respect you more for it. The rest will simply stop telling you their secrets, which is its own form of protection. This is the most counterintuitive one, and the most important. Most people walk into a room trying to prove something. They want to be seen as smart, successful, interesting, important. So they name drop. They steer conversations toward their achievements. They perform a version of themselves designed to generate admiration. A 2013 study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people who actively tried to impress others were consistently rated as less likable than those who simply engaged authentically. The researchers called this the impression management paradox. The harder you try to control how people see you, the less they see the person you want them to see. Socially intelligent people have abandoned the need to impress. They are not performing, they are not curating, they are present. They ask real questions, they give honest answers. They are comfortable with silence. They do not need the room to know what they have accomplished because their identity is not built on external validation. This is the deepest level of social intelligence, and it is rare because it requires something most people are not willing to do: let go of the need to be seen as exceptional. The paradox is that the moment you stop trying to impress people, you become the most impressive person in the room. Social intelligence is not a talent, it is a discipline. It is the decision, made again and again, to override the impulses that feel natural but cost you trust, respect, and real connection. The 7 behaviors in this video are not difficult to understand. They are difficult to stop, because every one of them gives you something in the moment: a hit of dopamine, a moment of feeling important, a brief sense of connection. But the long-term cost is always greater than the short-term reward. The most socially intelligent people you will ever meet are not the ones doing the most. They are the ones who have quietly stopped doing the things that everyone else cannot seem to quit.